Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see everyone in person, and we are going to start our last curriculum meeting for the year. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Soto for our resolutions that will be in front of you on Tuesday evening.
Thank you very much. So our first resolution is 1.1, resolution to approve conference requests in the secondary level. The first is to have our teachers attend the Syracuse University Project Advanced Summer Institute. It is one of the nation's leading concurrent enrollment programs at SUPA. The second is for Mr. Rothman to attend our New York State PTEC Summer Conference. Then there's Project Search 2022. It's an annual conference. Mr. Baer is here who can speak to that conference. He is not here. Okay. But it is a conference to help our PPS staff learn best practices in implementing improvements in testing and curriculum and supports for our New York State alternatively assessed students. Okay. Then we have our Computer Science Teachers Conference. We also have a resolution to approve field trip, that's 1.01.
Yeah.
Then we also have resolution to approve field trip requests. And we have Mr. Woody here who can speak to our MBK, MSK Scholar Students Program.
Does anyone have any questions about the conferences before we ask Mr. Woody? Anyone? Okay. Mr. Woody?
No, she has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Pineo.
Madam President.
Hi, I'm not used to being on the side.
I know, I am sorry.
On 1.01, on the bottom, there are a bunch of people from going to the Board of Education, to the, the Administrative Leadership Conference. Why are they back on?
On 1.01?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The leadership?
Yeah. Can I answer that?
Sure.
We'll be going the evening before to get everything set up and make sure everything is in place for beginning at 8 o'clock the next morning.
Okay.
Just a few of us.
So that has to be additional.
Correct, because it's an additional night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Stradone?
I have a question on the My Brother's Keeper's trip. That's a long drive for just 2 days.
Well, Mr.
Okay.
Woody's going to speak to that
And
first.
I do have a question on, it says chaperones. Do they check as far as the chaperones, since it's going to be an overnight trip? Do they have like a certain procedure that for approvals of chaperones?
Mr. Woody, did you want to speak to that, or?
That's resolution 1.02. So are we
Yeah.
done with zero?
Oh,
Okay.
were you?
Right.
Okay, so do you want, okay. Do you mind? Okay. No, thank you. Okay, now we're ready for 1.02. Mr. Wood.
Resolution to approve field trip requests in the secondary level. And Mr. Woody is here to talk about the MBK, MSK Scholars field trip.
Good afternoon, everyone. The My Brother's Keeper initiative was born out of a necessary effort to close and eliminate the opportunity gaps faced by boys and young men of color so that all young people could have a chance to reach their full potential. In keeping with the My Brother Keeper's 6 milestones, this experience will focus on milestone number 3, graduating from high school ready for college and career. And so it is my belief, my experience, that many of our scholars come from homes where neither parent or guardian has had the opportunity to attend college or to even complete college. And I believe that this exposure to the historically black colleges and universities will give them an opportunity to see that there's more beyond Newburgh. It will open their eyes to the potential and the possibilities that await them. Many of these scholars have never had the opportunity to leave Newburgh or even New York State. And so again, I believe that this opportunity will be great for them. It is my hope that those who may be on the fence about attending college will be inspired through this trip to eventually go to college, and those who hadn't even thought about it will come back with a spark of interest to say, you know what, let me come back and do what I need to do, get my academic standings in place, and then pursue my higher education degree. And in addition to the college tours, they will also experience some of our country's history as we visit some of the memorials at the National Mall. Thank you.
Mr. Sturdine, did you want to ask your question?
Yes, as far as the chaperones are concerned, is there a process to approve the chaperones for the trip?
So, Mr. Sturdine, the chaperones that Mr. Woody has attending this program are our own faculty members. Okay, they do work for our district.
And I know it's a long trip because I've been down to Washington, D.C. Is it, those 2 days, it's going to be kind of packed as far as your schedule. Is it a problem to maybe make it longer? Because in order to experience Washington, D.C., you're going to drive down probably, Friday morning? You're going to get there maybe at 11 o'clock, and by the time you visit maybe one college, the next day will be another college. It seems like it's all jam-packed into 2 days. Has any thought been given to increasing the days?
Well, there was no thought given to increasing the days, but the way that it's set up, we'll, as you said, visit one college on one day, and then on the way back home, we'll stop at the other one. And then by us having the packed day on Friday, by the time we get to the hotel, the hope is that the students will be nice and tired.
I can imagine the bus trip, but so is it the hotel stay that would be limiting the number of days, or is it you can't change it at this point, probably?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just know that it can be a really great experience, and an additional day would possibly be a lot more relaxing for everybody. It's instead of being in a bus for 2 days. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Sturdine. Mr. Woody, any comments? How many students do you have going? Do you know?
Yes, currently we have 60 students.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? .03
Resolution. No, I'll do it this side. It's okay. We're in person, so it's a little different this year. Resolution to authorize the interim superintendent to execute articulation agreement with the Culinary Institute of America. And this is so exciting, and we have Mr. Eitri, who can share a little bit about this new partnership.
Good afternoon. This articulation with the Culinary Institute is giving the kids actually 6 credits when they leave. They have to take all 3 courses, and they would get a math credit in the Culinary Institute, and they would also get their Servsafe credit. All the kids in our program need to pass the Servsafe in order to go on. So the Culinary has been very generous with us, and so they are taking a lot more of our kids, which is exciting to keep kids in the Hudson Valley.
Thank you. Ms. Mineo?
I think this is really a great opportunity, not just for our kids, but for our whole community, because Hyde Park usually will partner with some school district closer or with Duchess Bosse's, and for us, this is a really exciting thing to do. Thank you, Mr. Eitri.
Totally agree. It's very exciting for the students, that's for sure. Thank you. And you.
So we have Resolution 1.4 to acknowledge concurrent enrollment with Mohawk Valley Community College. And again, we have Mr. Eitri, who can speak a little bit more about this agreement.
We are very excited about this agreement. I don't know if you remember at the last curriculum committee, we had put through articulation agreements for those listed programs. They came back to us after looking at the resumes of our teachers and talked to us about doing concurrent enrollment. Just so everybody knows, this is where the teacher in the courses becomes an adjunct professor. So the kids will get their CTE credit. They also will be getting college credit. But the most important thing about these credits is the kids do not need to go to Mohawk Valley Community College. They can just apply for their transcript at the end and get it transferred to any school. They are transferable credits. The other thing that we have worked out with Mohawk Valley Community College, because of our students in our district, there will be zero cost.
Comments, questions? Ms. Mineo?
It says culinary. How does that overlap or not overlap with the last item, Mr. Eatry?
Sorry, this whole technology is killing me. This is different. In order to get the credit at the Culinary Institute, you must attend Culinary Institute. The difference is they would get actually 6 credits, I believe, at Mohawk Valley, and those transfer to any school. So they could go to Culinary Institute and transfer the credits they got from Mohawk Valley Community College, so they could go in with up to 12 credits.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We have 1.05 resolution to authorize the superintendent of schools to execute an agreement with Clarkson University. And today we have Ms. Sierra who can speak to that partnership.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me today. This is the 3rd year we've been partnering with Clarkson and in being able to have about 24 of our 6th through 8th scholars attend Beacon Institute at Dennings Point in the ESYP. So they're going to be going from July 5th through July 25th, I think it is. And 2 teachers and a nurse from Newburgh will accompany them to Beacon. Then we have staff at Clarkson also working with them. Last year the program was tremendously successful, so we're excited to be able to offer this to them again.
Thank you. That's questions, anybody? Comments? So those resolutions will be in front of us on Tuesday evening. And now we have a wonderful celebration of learning by our secondary directors. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. I'm looking. Thank you, Ms. Soto.
Thank you. So I can't believe it's June, right? Time flies when we're having fun. So our division's goal is to create opportunities for our students. Everyone in this room has worked on ensuring that all of our students have an opportunity to practice and achieve district-wide academic expectations. The directors will communicate individual and district-wide progress towards achieving academic, social, and even civic expectations. Also, while academics are very, very important, extracurricular activities offer many benefits for our students. You will hear from our directors the importance of athletics, fine performing arts, and the Empire program. So without further ado, I present to you the directors of the Curriculum Instruction Division in our celebration of our annual accomplishments. And if I knew how to work this, would be great.
Just the 2 hours.
Did I go too far back? Oh, I'm good. I'm good. All right. Mr. Harrison?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. Here to speak about some things, accomplishments throughout the year in athletics. So we see this picture up here. It's a picture of our lacrosse team, girls lacrosse teams, and you see it's Morgan's Message. This year we competed in a game, Morgan's Message. It brings awareness to mental health and the student-athlete community. So we played FDR in this game. It was an amazing game. It was a 3 overtime game. We wound up on the short end of the stick, losing by 1. But this is something we are a part of every year, and we also participated in this game against Cornwall. So this is something we want to continue to do, bring awareness into the student-athlete community for mental health. So that's what the Morgan's Message is about, and something we've starting to champion within the athletic program. So some of the things that we have accomplished this year, we've had 4 coaches of the year, 4 players of the year, and 8 individual state qualifiers through track, wrestling, tennis, and golf. And right now, golf, we've had 2 young brothers, Mark Yan and Josh Yan, who participated in the state tournament. Now, the 8th grader, Josh, is just qualified for the Federation Cup, which means he's going to be amongst the top 7 in the state playing in golf next week, and he is the only 8th grader amongst 6 seniors playing in the golf tournament. So that is very impressive for that young man. So as I said, the golf program looks very bright. Also, Section 9, we've had 2 championships, football and basketball, division champs, and baseball and crew. We've had a couple college commitments, and they're still rolling in. We've had 4 Division I, 8 Division II, and 2 Division III commitments so far. And something we've been working on to showcase just the beautiful campus and things for athletics. We have won the bid to host the Regional Girls Soccer Championship this year, which will be November 5th. And we are positioned and wanted to host the football Section 9 Championship Finals any day this week or next week. We'll receive the word, and I think it looks good for us to be able to host this game, which will be big. And also, one thing we're proud of is the Goldback Nation News monthly newsletter. Please look out for that and make sure you answer the trivia on the last page. We always have a nice trivia question for everyone. Okay, and some milestones. We have Miss Diaz, who broke the pole vault record. We also have Coach Billy Bianco, who was the all-time winningest football coach. And we have Alina Ferguson, who's a sophomore, recorded 100 strikeouts this year in softball, as well as Dalia Santiago, who recorded 100 lacrosse saves, which is very impressive. And in that Morgan's Message game, she recorded 100 lacrosse saves. So that makes it even more special. And also we have scholar athletes, Roberta Reed and Megan Cameron. I just want to say thank you to everyone for the support, because the hard work that the coaches and the athletes put in to make the community proud is this just exemplifies some of the work that they've done all year. So just thank you from the athletic department. So I'd like to pass it over to Mr. Eitri.
Hello again. You'll notice one of the first things I wrote is live hands-on work. Our CTE staff could not be happier to have kids in person again working. There's been nothing like hearing cars and welding and cooking. I love the cooking smells, I won't lie. Nursing kids working at nursing homes. We have everything going on this year, and I have to tell you, the excitement for my teachers has been number one. Being online has been hard, doing a hands-on subject like CTE, so we were very excited to get them back. As you know, from Curriculum Committee, we have gotten several articulation agreements this year with Monroe College, Delhi, Mohawk Valley Community College, and the Culinary Institute of America. After today, we'll be working on concurrent credit, which we couldn't be more excited about. It makes our kids excited to go to class, to possibly get college credit, so anything to keep kids motivated, we are there. One of our biggest thing is we brought 170 kids to Legoland. They were all offered jobs. Out of the 170, 110 are completing their paperwork in school this coming Friday. The kids are ready to go. They stop by my office every 15 minutes to make sure, is this ID okay? Is this okay? Do I need to dress up? And I'm like, no, this is just to do your paperwork and do taxes. What's taxes again? And so they've really been funny, and they're very excited for these jobs. We've also placed jobs at Ford, Motor, Chevy, Billy Joe's. All the restaurants down at the river have taken our students. This year was the first year we had a live work study program where that means kids were out in the field working, not just doing field work in the school. We have 100 students that completed their work study program this year, which goes on to their diplomas. So we're very excited that they are our CDOS students. We have students that are finally getting certificates again. It's the nursing program, our cosmetology, our barbering program, our criminal justice program got their security licenses. All the kids in the technical subjects got their OSHA certifications. And finally, I can't even read my last writing, but there was something else. Again, I spoke about this earlier. All of our students have, for the first time ever, gotten Servsafe Certification. With that certification, every one of our kids that wanted a job have been hired because of that certification here in Newburgh. I'm going to introduce Al Romano. Again, it's me. Mr. Romano could not be with us tonight. So as you can see in the first picture at Denning Point, one of the pictures is during the school year, one shows during the summer. These are finally up and moving again. As you can see in the classroom lab activities, Mr. Romano was showing exactly what I was speaking about. He couldn't be more excited to have kids doing labs with their hands in class again. On the bottom, South Middle School did a Gem and Mineral Expo this year. And part of that, all the kids had an activity. So all the classes visited, but there was a science activity to go with this gem. Next. Again, Mr. Romano was very excited. This year we had 49 students inducted into the New York State Science Honor Society. This is our 29th annual year. To the right, the first picture, you can see kids are doing their community stewardship. This is kids working in our community toward their honor society. Again, these were pictures of kids working in class toward their honor society. And I'm probably not talking as long as Mr. Romano, and I apologize. And he's watching this from home, so. I'd like to introduce Jen Nielsen, our very talented ELA director.
Thank you, Mr. Petrie. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you all. For secondary ELA, we have focused on building capacity on transformative literacy. I have a couple pictures up here in order to highlight the phenomenal work that is happening at South Middle School to kind of tell the story of the work that we're doing across the district. So we have been exploring what transformative literacy is, understanding what the instructional practices and moves are, and then how to better utilize the resources that are available for this approach. What you'll see on the left side are pictures of students engaging in the 100-book challenge. The 100-book challenge is a resource that we use for independent reading. Students can select any text of interest, read and practice specific skills that will help improve their literacy. It's based on what their strengths are. Teachers conference with them, and they improve their literacy that way. The kids are really into this, especially at South. They earn medals. There are a lot of celebrations that are happening that are shared even on social media, so they're very excited when they level up and receive a level. On the right side, these are examples of the core instruction that's happening in English language arts using transformative literacy approach. This is an example from 8th grade. What the students did for this unit, which is the last unit that they engaged in, they worked on a text, Look Both Ways by Jason Reynolds. The story is told through short excerpts about different blocks within a community. So they're describing their community through characters' experiences within the blocks. The teachers designed a unit around this book where kids were positioned as writers. They really wanted them to see themselves as writers and to write about their community using some of the strategies that they experienced and the themes that they experienced through the book. So what you'll see are two examples. One is an 845 poem. The students were asked to write a problem within their community that they would like to address, how they would like to address it using certain lines, eight words within the first line, 4 words, then 5 words. The bottom example, joy photography, they had to choose something in the community that brought them joy. So they took a picture within their community and they described it using the language that they experienced within the text, and also, what brings them joy in the community. So they're able to bring what they learned thematically from the text and connect it with the work or the experience that they have within their community, and they presented it in the class with everyone. And I also know that this work was aligned with the work of Dr. Hunter, and some of those examples were also presented at Vassar College. They've been doing a really great job. This has been happening across the grade level, so there's a lot of team building and sharing of resources. Next slide, please. I'm going to introduce Ms. Beato.
Thank you, Ms. Nielsen. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll start with the after-school and Saturday programs, whether they were remote or in person. Our secondary students were included. To the left, you see pictures of NFA North L Assembly. As you may know, we experienced a large number of newcomers this year, and that included a large number of students at NFA North. So in order to better support our ELs, this past March, NFA North held a Newcomer Assembly where we had all of the building administrators, Ms. Soto, all of the CNI directors, counselors, teachers, spoke to our students and community members, spoke to our students about the support within our schools, our school district, and our community. But most importantly, we had our current and former ELs speak to our newcomers about their experiences while in our school district. Next slide, please. In world languages, last night we held our Spanish and Italian Honor Society. We had over 120 students who were inducted, and that included our students who couldn't be inducted last year due to COVID. We also had 72 Seal of Biliteracy recipients. That's our largest number yet in the 6 years that we have implemented the program. You also see you see 5 seals there. We have not received the one for this year, but our school district has earned a seal for being part of the New York State Seal of Biliteracy Task Force every year that we have implemented the Seal of Biliteracy program. And you also see a report there. Our recipients from last year were featured in the New York State Seal of Biliteracy Hudson Valley Regional Report. So we celebrate language all across. And now Mr. Fiorentino will walk us through the accomplishments in math.
Thank you, Ms. Beato. So for math, instructionally at the secondary level, we've been focusing on the constructivist approach and putting more of the thinking on the students during the lesson. The goal is for the teacher to become more of a facilitator than a disseminator. Some of the strategies we've talked about this year to support constructivism are the use of open-ended questions, vertical learning, and math interviews. The pictures shown here are from Maine and Meadow Hill. The picture on the bottom left and right are an example of vertical learning, where students work collaboratively on a vertical surface to solve a task while the teacher circulates around the room and facilitates the discussion. And that's the goal when we are looking at a constructivist math classroom. The teacher is more facilitating, the students' responses are leading the lesson. And something as simple as standing and working on a vertical surface really helps encourage both the discussion and enables the teacher to facilitate better. One thing I'd like to highlight this year is our enrollment numbers for next year. We're actually anticipating running 1 BC Calc section, 2 Calc AB sections, and 3 College Algebra College Trig sections, and 4 Pre-Calc Honor sections. So these are the highest levels of math that we offer, and these all are increases in sections from last year. So we're getting more kids to the higher level math, which is a great sign. And if you can go to the next slide, please. I'm going to pass to Ms. Green, our Director of Social Studies.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Fiorentino. In the social studies, last year I completed a very lengthy 12-page application to pilot the new New York State Seal of Civic Readiness here in Newburgh. We were accepted. And so this year has been about building systems that can be used in subsequent years. As some of you have heard, I'm taking an associate principal position in the Hudson City School District. My last day here is July 1st. So I am making sure that I wrap everything up with a bow and that it is passed on to trusting hands. The Seal of Civic Readiness Steering Committee, which is a district-level committee that I've been chairing all year, I'm going to give ownership of that shared drive to Mr. Matthew Dotto, and I'm also going to make the leads in all 4 of the schools content managers of that so that all of that work can continue in subsequent years. It's been a really great experience doing this and getting to know the kids and working with them. There are so many incredible things happening in Newburgh, and we have so many great kids. And these are the highlights that need to go in the newspapers. So we have, this is a pilot year, but we have 40 NFA scholars across Maine, North, and West who will earn the seal. And these students have done incredible civics projects and capstone projects. The student in the upper right-hand corner in the image you see there with the long hair, her name's Kenya Barraza. She's a ROTC graduate this year. Her cadet transcript, she has 125 community service hours of just volunteer time. She's incredible. I nominated her for the Orange County Youth Bureau High School Citizenship Award, and she won second place for all of Orange County. So I'll be joining her tomorrow in Middletown and her family at the Orange Community College campus to receive that award. On the right, we had in our participation in government classes, kind of part and parcel with the Seal of Civic Readiness. The government teachers put out an interest for any juniors and seniors who wanted to create a public service announcement around the Newburgh water crisis, which would include an update in what's happening with Newburgh's water. As many of you here are very involved in the community and already know, the CDC has given a grant to SUNY Albany to conduct a long-term PFAS exposure study in Hoosick Falls and in Newburgh. So these students were so incredible from the very beginning. Their goal was to create a public service announcement that would reach as many people in the Newburgh city as possible. So one young lady on here, Celeste Guerva, she translated everything into Spanish, and the interview with City Councilman Anthony Grice was in English. We did a Spanish version of that with Giselle Martinez, the same questions and responses, so those would be accessible. And we're looking to run this PSA in our U.S. history classes up at the high school since the Regents exam was canceled, and they have a little time now. Much like Ms. Nielsen mentioned, Ms. O'Neill, who helped with this project, was in Dr. Javon Hunter's cohort, transformative literacy and transformative classrooms. And so they asked these students to present at Vassar College, and they did an incredible job. They're going to share a little bit of the work they did at the Board of Education meeting on June 14th. And those 5 students are awesome. I'm buying them dinner before the board meeting. So to echo what Mr. Eachery mentioned, in science and in CTE, it's so nice to get kids back out enjoying experiences. One of our high school teachers at NFA Maine, Mr. Underhill, got a grant from the Gilder Lehrman Institute to take students to see Hamilton, which took ticket prices from something like $220 to $10 per student. And if students couldn't cover that $10, the social studies department covers it for them. So 45 of our scholars got to go. It was a great experience. And one thing I forgot to mention, but Mr. Fiorentino reminded me with his bragging rights on the AP classes, this was the first year our new course, AP Human Geography, ran. 2 sections of it ran at NFA Maine, a section ran at North, and a section ran at West as well. The teachers are super excited about it. The students loved it, and there's plans in the works to continue to make that something that entering freshmen can have. So a shameless plug to support the AP Power Prep Bridge program in the summer at ESYP for entering freshmen who are going to take on an AP course. I am going to introduce Ms. Kelly Sierra to talk about the Empire program, and I do want to thank each and every one of you for my time here in Newburgh. Thank you.
Ms. Green, I want to remind you, you're speaking on behalf of...
I'm sorry, Ms. Keach could not be with us today. So, okay, here we go. For the 5th consecutive year, and this is really cool, Newburgh is one of the best communities for music education, so congrats to Newburgh. Ms. Keach notes that they'll be adding new instruments to all of the school to continue this tradition of excellence. There is a link to the 2022 Virtual Celebration of Arts video that ran in February, and that video highlights the department, the many works of art and music examples. And similar to purchasing new instruments, new materials were purchased for art teachers for every school across the district. These materials are showcased in the videos, in the classrooms, and the art show. I wasn't sure if you were going to show the video, but I can. It is linked there for anyone who wants to see it. Ms. Keach notes that they returned to the Ritz Theater this year for their district art show from March 16th through April 6th. There was no opening reception due to COVID, but parents, guardian, families, and friends were able to go to the Ritz, and the showing dates resulted in an amazing show of student artwork. 218 pieces of art were shown from the schools across the district at that. The Orange County Music Educators Association held all county festivals again this year in person. Senior high school students were selected, but unfortunately the festival was canceled due to inclement weather. I remember that. Jazz and junior high festivals were held. And the performing arts team returned to in-person concerts this spring. NYSSMA returned to in-person solo festivals in the spring as well, and many students participated. For those that aren't familiar, these festivals are where high school students have the opportunity to be chosen for area all-state and all-state next fall. 2 NFA students were recognized by OU BOCES for their achievements in the humanities. That would be John O'Sullivan and Tori Shropshire. NFA debuted their new marching band uniforms at the Memorial Day parades. New uniforms are a year-long process from design to delivery and are custom made for NECSD. There's a picture of them down in the lower right-hand corner. They were designed by world-renowned pageantry artist Michael G. Cesario. He's responsible for creating the trademark uniforms for America's finest bands, drum corps, and color guards through the uniform company Fred J. Miller, Inc. District-wide new band and orchestra instruments are still being distributed, and the Steinway grand piano was given a complete overhaul. Photos on the slide are NFA West ceramics. That would be, looks like Mickey Mouse up there on the left. HMS's 8th grade identity mask. That's cool. And NFA Maine painting and drawing over there on the right. And Ms. Keach apologizes for not being able to be here and thanks you for considering her wonderful achievements. And now I can introduce Ms. Kelly Sierra.
Thank you for the double introduction. So it's hard to believe, like Ms. Soto said, that it's the end of June. It's also the end of my 3rd year as the Empire facilitator. And every year, Empire has looked very different. So this year, what we did across the 7 secondary buildings, we offered in-person program to scholars on Tuesdays and Thursdays for 1.5 hours. We also, in April and June, our last one is this Saturday, the Rock the Regents taking place at NFA North for all scholars taking Regents exams, so from 8th grade all the way up to 12th grade. This past Saturday, Mr. Dotto and Mr. Rothman had close to 90 scholars that attended Regents Review. We've also had amazing new programs through the collaboration, which is my favorite parts behind the scenes of Empire, is collaborating not only with building teachers, admin, but also people sitting at this table. We've really done amazing work in offering new programs, including culinary, which there was a wait out the door at Meadow and Temple Hill for that middle school culinary program. A glow up for our LGBTQ+ scholars at Heritage, which is also very popular. Esports at West and at North, and school beautification was done at Maine, and that mural down below was, there's several of them at Maine from that program. And also unique opportunities for academic support, which again, collaborating with people at the table, trying to get students to come in for academic support through the Empire program. We also have programs that have been since the last couple of years, continue to thrive. Our drumline program went to the Renegades game again a couple weeks ago. Intramurals is another very popular program. Cultural awareness, you can see the scholars in the dancing at the cafeteria at North. They love to dance, so they even got me to dance a little bit too. Our Seal of Biliteracy, this is the 2nd year we've been able to offer support for scholars throughout NFA to get the Seal of Biliteracy, so having the largest number of students receive that is amazing. SAT prep we offered at North and welcomed scholars from West and Maine there as well. We even did a mock exam in April for students preparing for the May exam. Teen Talks at West has also been a phenomenal program. Our Film and Fiction is also making its inaugural debut in the summer program for 6th through 8th graders. I'm very excited about that. Our Urban Agriculture program at North, we had AgriCon a few weeks ago that Empire supported. And we've always had yoga and mindfulness. The kids absolutely love doing that as well. So I'm excited for my 2nd year doing summer programs, again, including our partnerships with Clarkson and also Black Rock Forest. I've been working with Al Romano on that. We are actually almost, he's not here to hear this news, but we are almost at capacity at Black Rock and at Clarkson for registrations through this morning. We have great programs in STEM, arts, music, fitness. Again, we're doing a culinary program with Johnny Tree's assistance through 6th and 8th grade as well as 9 through 12. And we're also offering a various cosmetology programs. So for kids that are interested in it, that might want to get exposure in 6th through 8th grade, as well as some students that might be needing some extra hours throughout the summer. So it's been a real team effort, and I'm very excited for the menu of programs. Again, just kind of sharing some pictures. Also, our swimming program, we also did in April and May to get kids excited about maybe also summer. And that is also almost at capacity too. I have almost 85 scholars signing up for swimming. So it's really, really exciting. So thank you. I don't know who I'm introducing next, but whoever. Oh. There you go. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to meet everyone in person. I'm going to be going over some of the highlights for physical education for this year. One exciting thing I'd like to talk about is that we have the lifeguard training course scheduled for the fall at NFA Maine. It was actually, they held it before COVID, and we finally were able to schedule it in. I think it's a great opportunity for students to gain a skill that'll help them with finding work once they've been certified. They'll also be able to work at pools, clubs, water parks, especially Legoland. So it's a great opportunity for students and a great program, I believe, especially in gaining a skill that they can use when they're not in session. Something else that was happening is in health, they discussed mental health and emotional health for a period of time. And at the end of the unit, they practiced stress relief techniques. They practiced meditation, breathing techniques, and in this picture, they're doing yoga, which was their favorite part for the middle school. Next slide, please. In other areas of physical education, we have students that are working on their throwing and catching techniques and their team building activities. Something else that I really thought was great is they had a literacy piece in phys ed and Why We Love PE. So they were able to fund, I guess, the book Why We Love PE, and everyone had one to work on their reading. So I think that's great. Next slide. And last slide is a video from NFA Maine students who are learning to swim and dive with Miss Young in their aquatics class. It's actually really moving to see the students conquering their fears of water and seeing their faces once they've accomplished that. And I think it's really great if we could play that.
So I'm really proud of this team. These directors have so much passion. They are servant leaders. They've provided support for our teachers, our principals, Mrs. Moriarty, and I can't thank you enough for all of your efforts, and we can't wait to see what's in store for next year. That concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It's overwhelming. You did an amazing job. I was just going to ask. Go ahead, Ms. Mineo. I'm so sorry.
I have a couple of questions. Thank you, everyone. That was really, really great. I mean, there were a lot of really good things. I have a couple of questions. How many nursing students got pins? Do you know, Mr. Eitri?
There were 46 this year.
Nice.
We have 3 that did not pass, and they are retaking the exam in June, actually next week.
3, good. We'll keep our fingers crossed for
Yep.
that. Large number of newcomers at North causing us staffing problems?
Across the district, but we have make it worked. We have utilized every single resource that we have in order to support our students.
Thank you. And this question is really for Mr. Howard. The higher level math, could you give us a breakdown, like, you know, in the weekly of the racial breakdown as well as gender breakdown, so that we find out how many students, girls and boys, or young men and young women, and a racial breakdown of those students that are now taking higher level math? Thank you. Thank you, but I think everybody really, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great programs, great after-school programs, but it's a couple tough questions I have to ask, and perhaps you can give me the answers that you feel are proper. But I need to know, what is the who and what is the why? And the who is, who's participating in these programs? Because as I go in communities, I talk to a lot of kids, and I brag about the programs that we offer in the district. And you'd be surprised the amount of kids of color that don't even understand or know that these programs or after-school programs exist. So I guess my question is, who is participating from a demographics breakdown? And then the other question is the why. Why aren't all of the kids trying to take advantage of these programs? These are incredible opportunities. And as I make my trek through the community, I'm disappointed in a lot of the kids and the parents when I tell parents what we offer, and they look at me like I got 2 heads, like they never knew it existed, or, you know. So I guess what I'm asking is, do we take the demographics, and if it's not really matching up to the breakdown that we have in the district, do we reach out to other kids to encourage them to participate, or do we just let it be something that kids that show up, those are the ones that take advantage of the programs? And that's for all of our programs.
Mr. Howard, I can answer the part of the issue this year was transportation. We did not have after-school transportation, so that was a really big barrier for a lot of students to stay after 100%. That's the first thing that comes to mind in terms of maybe why kids weren't staying after. I will. 100%.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I just wanted to answer because part of CTE is we have to really look at the number of minorities, just everybody that's in the program, because we have to report on that every year. We have 62% of our students are minorities in our program. The other demographic we have to look at, which is always an issue for us, I'm going to use cosmetology, we don't get enough boys. No, but I've just brought that up because that's also on my Perkins report that has to go through every year. So we always try to bring in kids. If not, we advertise. We put our stuff on GBTV, and that's the best way to connect with kids.
So let me just ask this. And unfortunately, with young people, sometimes they're focused on other things. So the parents, usually, you'll see parents that really advocate and encourage for kids to be parts of certain programs because they know the lifetime benefits. They know what those programs offer. Do we have a way to reach out to parents to let them know what we have and what we have going on so that they can encourage their kids to be a part and participate?
I can also speak to that a little bit as well. In terms of the summer program, we've done a really big push of trying to make sure it was on the school website. Working with Cassie in the communications department, we did a big blast of emails this weekend and also robocalls. I have close to 400 applicants, registrations for the summer right now for grades 6 through 12. The summer does really lend itself more to 6 through 9, 6 through 10. I will say the upper secondary kids are either participating in academic credit recovery or they're not participating, to be quite honest. But I'm excited about the numbers. It's actually over 100 kids more than I had last year, and it's still the beginning of June, so I'm hoping to get those numbers up.
Okay, and the last question I have, you said transportation was a problem. Are we doing anything, or can we do anything with that issue?
So transportation for the summer, I'm understanding that we're good to go. So that could also be another reason why we have more students looking to do it for the summer. This school year, I think Trish Coyne heard from me every other week asking for updates, and by February she said it really wasn't going to happen for the year. So looking on the positive side, considering we did not have transportation, our programs were pretty robust. And I feel very lucky to still have a decent number of scholars attending at all 7 buildings, to the point where some programs were closed out. We couldn't take any more scholars in intramurals, in culinary. We were at capacity. So that also, I think, speaks to the commitment that families and scholars and buildings had to making sure they were engaging in those after-school activities.
I can't operate this thing. It's going to take me a week. I think this year, the best way to connect with parents, we still didn't do because of COVID. We do an open house, and that's my baby. That's like, we load the gym just like a college, and we set up the programs. I'm going to tell you, not one teacher presents that night. It's all kids. It's all our kids. We have dummy heads out. They're probably not mannequin heads. Sorry, I shouldn't call it dummy heads. I can't talk. And so they're out doing stuff on the hair, but that encourages, and that's where my parents do come, because it is their high school, and they do come in, and that's where we get a lot of enrollment. This year we did it virtually. You know, it's impossible to know how many people really watch or have the ability to watch it.
So I was at an event yesterday on Broadway in Johnson or Lander. The lot right there. They had a program there for barbers. And I talked to 7 young kids, 3 of them from Temple Hill, 2 from Horizons, I think 1 from South, that didn't know about the barber program that we have at the CT program. And I encouraged them to reach out when they finish their 8th grade year to do that, to reach out to their guidance counselor so they can point them in that direction. But I was surprised at the number of young kids that are barbers in this community that can really take advantage of that, what we offer at the high school with barbering.
Mr. Howard, we also send out, as far as athletics, the newsletter has been going out just to let the community know what's going on in the athletic department as far as extracurricular activity. So that's been going out recently.
Mr. Hart, I also want to circle back to the transportation issue. It has been a struggle this past year, and I really commend, and we're all nodding our heads, but we really commend Ms. Coyne, who has been such a champion for our students in trying to get them transportation, constantly calling different companies, trying to work out situations where we can modify certain runs so we can get more children on our bus runs, but we really, really have to thank Tricia Coyne for all of her efforts.
Mr. Etri.
Actually, I wanted to bring this up because Ms. Soto and I are working on a committee with LEGO through St. Luke's Hospital, and we're working with Orange County Community College, bringing transportation for the LEGO project. And because of that, I just wanted to say, I did a survey with the kids that are in CTE. 60% of our kids do not have driver's licenses. Matching that, either do the parents. So why would a kid, first of all, go get a permit or get a license? I mean, I know I wanted to because my parents and I wanted to get away from them. But, like every teenager, I'm joking, but our kids do not have a way to learn to drive. One of my big driving forces in the near future is to open a driver's ed program for our children. It has to happen. They have nobody to teach them, and it's not their fault. If their parents don't drive and just take cabs, that's what they're going to do. But I hate to see a kid spend $20 on a cab and take 3 hours to make up that $20. So that is, when we look at all the things, I did want to say that we were looking at that because that's not fair to our kids.
Thank you, Mr. Vitri and Mr. Howard. Anyone else have any comments or questions? I know we're running out of time. I just had one question about illustrated math, Mr. Freund. How is that going?
So this year, we've been using illustrative math in the middle school, 6-8, and then Algebra 1 and Geometry. It's went really well at the high schools. Part of that is because they have blocked time, so they've really found the opportunity to really explore the lessons, go 50, 60 minutes. Middle school and 6th grade, they have a little bit more time as well. In 7th and 8th grade, we're still kind of building capacity and transitioning. My hope is that we'll see some positive results when the Regents exam comes, because that's the ultimate end game, are getting as many students through Algebra 1 as possible. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So we have some curriculum updates. The first is 2.2, Digital Citizenship Curriculum Writing Update, and we have Mr. Brancato here who can speak to it.
Thank you so much for inviting me. The Technology Department is preparing to put out a posting for digital citizenship curriculum writing, materials generation, assessments, website development, professional development participation, and facilitation. This work will take place in the summer.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Would you like me to start over or continue from? Okay. So our partnership with the Bilingual Education Resource Network will position us to develop a curriculum that is culturally and linguistically responsive. Additionally, we will align with New York State Education Department's expectation to develop curriculum, provide resources and professional development on the new technology standards by 2023. So thank you, and open for discussion.
Questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brancato. We also have 2.3, Policy 5502, AP Weightings. And we have Ms. Onyx and Mr. Place, who are here to speak to it.
Am I on? There we go. So we have been working in the technology department on policy 5502, which was updated last August. And part of that policy requires that students that are in AP courses will only be given the 1.05 weight if they take the AP examination associated with each course. So in the event that that student does not complete the AP examination, it gets reduced to 1.03. The portion of this policy was revised just prior to the start of the school year. As we prepare for the end of the school year, the Data and Information team has begun to examine how to implement this policy within the Infinite Campus, our student district information system. We are bringing to your attention a significant concern that we will also take to the policy committee, and it is through our lens of data accuracy. If implemented as written, we are highly concerned that this part of the policy will introduce a manual process of changing grades that will raise many questions regarding their accuracy, especially with regard to GPAs, transcripts, and rank. To illustrate our concerns, the process that would have to be followed to identify the students whose grades need to be changed and to rescale those grades. First, in total, there are over 60 rosters or course sections that need to be reviewed. We have identified 607 exams that were taken out of 1,114 students that were enrolled in the associated courses. Therefore, over 500 student course grades will need to be rescaled for each marking period throughout the course of the year. We would then have to wait until all final grades are completed for the year. And then for each roster associated with each section, we would have to go in and change the grading by student feature and rescale each student's score for each marking period and the final grade. More than 2,500 scores will need to be rescaled before grades can be posted to transcripts. Then we would finalize all transcripts and all the final grades to the transcripts. And then we would have to go into each transcript for each student and then rescale the score and make a note on every single entry by hand. We anticipate that over 3,000 data fields would have to be updated. And because the process can't be automated, it is estimated that it would take somewhere between 60 and 80 man-hours to complete. By far, our greatest concern is that as we make each change manually, we are possibly inserting an error into the student information system. Each error impacts the accuracy of transcripts, GPA calculations, and final ranks. And with regard to final rank, a single error can impact the rank for all students. Because of the possible negative impacts of that portion of the policy could have on the accuracy of our data, we are recommending, and we'll go to the policy committee tomorrow, to recommend that the implementation of this be delayed until the 23-24 school year in order to allow the district time to determine, in collaboration with the vendor, Infinite Campus, an automated process that focuses on data accuracy. So we're bringing this to you today just to bring it to your attention, our concerns, and then tomorrow we will go to policy to make a recommendation to delay that part of the implementation until it can be automated.
Thank you. Question. Ms. Peterson, did you want to answer that?
I think that what we also want to add to this is that we do understand the importance. This decision and this came out of the grading committee. We do support it, but we really want to make sure that there's data accuracy around it. A part of the policy, AP week, for those that may not know, is at the beginning of May. So we were able to get the results of who sat and who did not sit towards the end of May. I think what our hope was that with the district covering the cost of AP exams and the open enrollment time, that we would have more scholars sign up to take the AP exam. The AP program did a phenomenal job of increasing the amount of students that did sit for AP exams. We were up around somewhere around 700, over 700 exams taken by students, which is a significant increase than it was in the past. But when we look at the results of actually who's enrolled, because there has been an increase in enrollment of AP courses, we are concerned about the amount of data changes that would have to occur to enforce this policy.
Thank you. Mr. Stradari?
When was the cutoff for sign-up for AP exams?
The cutoff for sign-ups for AP exams was somewhere, I think, in March, Ms. Soto, if I'm incorrect. The final deadline was in March. However, it's not just the cutoff for signing up for the exams, it's actually who sat for the exam. So I could have signed up for the exam and not sat for the exam, and I didn't get that information till the data, I think it was, when was that turned over to?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So the policy says here that students in AP courses are not required to sit for the AP exam. So shouldn't it be a requirement that you take the exam if you take AP courses? Because then you're not going to have this problem.
I think that that's something that we need to bring back to curriculum and work, because I don't disagree. But but I know that there was a concern when we were at grading policy, and actually that was one of the recommendations when we went to grading committee from the teachers and the committee. The concern was the cost of the AP exam. So if I am encouraging a student to sit for the AP exam and they cannot afford, does the district have the money to fund? The other concern that came up is the way in which we offer our AP exams. Our courses are commingled right now. So we have a student, I'll take English for example, it's an AP English course that is taught in conjunction with Mercy College. The student can elect either to take the AP exam or the college level course, and we would have to have a way of identifying it. So we agree with the sentiments that came out. We have to figure out a way with our student management and curriculum and finance to figure out if we can fund it, and we do not want to make a hasty decision and sacrifice our data accuracy.
Does this affect the valedictorian and salutatorian for this year?
No, it does not.
Mr. Howard?
Yeah, I was going to ask, as with other problems, so when you have a problem, you usually look outside the box. What are other districts doing of our size that we can compare to our size? What do they do with these calculations in situations like this?
Mr. Howard, I've had the opportunity of reaching out to several districts, and they all do something differently. Some districts do weight their AP courses where the students are required to take the test, and if they don't, then they drop down their GPA. We have some schools that it's an option, but they still earned their 1.5 weight credit. So it's quite different across the board.
Thank you.
First of all, I have so many questions, I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to study tonight before I go to policy committee. But I'm looking at the policy agenda. This item is not on the policy committee agenda yet. So can that be added?
We were going to add that. Mrs. Peterson?
I don't see it. Am I wrong? Thank you.
It is there? Yeah, okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? This is going to be a lot to discuss, so thank you both. We appreciate that. And we're a few minutes over, but I wanted to thank all of you for a wonderful presentation. We're so proud of our scholars and all of the work that you all have done for us. So thank you all.
And we want to publicly thank you for everything that you've done for us.
It's more than my pleasure.
Your
I've
support.
enjoyed every minute, honestly, and I
Incredible
appreciate
partner.
all of you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the
Oh,
CNI
God.
family, we want to thank you for being our chair and for all of your work on the grant. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'll still be around. Thank you again, and I can't thank, it's been wonderful. It's really been a pleasure to